necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And hello, K-Man, and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM. We're your hosts, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon, and welcome to Straight Talk, home for all those persons who like to think. How are you today, Mr. Harris?
I am good, Mr. Solomon. You may have just saw me, put my head down. I was checking to see if we were...
What our arrangement was today.
What our arrangement was today. I see you didn't get the memo. You didn't go with red today.
Yeah, you got a nice red on, I got the blue, so I don't know.
Two K-Man colors?
Complimentary.
Complimentary, indeed.
If you want to do a nice three-dimensional, artwork on your... what do you call it? Your alphabets, your letters. That's a good one. Red and blue.
That's right. Absolutely. How was your day today?
My day was good. I came home early and relaxed. Probably slept for about 2 hours.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no, I know the stress of it all.
The stress of it all. Did you get any rain while you slept?
I have no idea because I was sleeping.
You were sleeping?
But this would make sense.
You don't have any, I guess you don't have a zinc roof, so it'll tell you.
No, I don't have a zinc roof. We've traded out the good zinc roof for
the old days.
For plywood and shingles.
That's right. That's right. Well, apparently 7 Mile Beach got a little rain today, in case you were in the area, which you probably weren't, but I was. And there was a few poodles, a.k.a. puddles, along the road. And as I saw the puddles, I thought of you. I said, if Ellio were here, he'd call these poodles. And there are a lot of poodles.
There's a lot of poodles here.
7 Mile Beach.
Yeah. Well, one is apparently a little bit more fun than the other, but yeah, poodles is the way to go.
Poodles is deep.
Yeah, watch out for the poodle. You don't stand in the poodle.
Right. Well, welcome, K-Man, to another episode of Straight Talk, brought to you by Bobo 103.1 FM, but simulcasting live, hopefully, without any challenges today, over YouTube and Facebook. Under the key search word Straight Talk Radio Show. You can also find us streaming live over the ACT Cruise Tourism page. The phone lines are open at 745-2626. That's the number in studios if you want to call up and be a part of our otherwise evening good news banter for at least the first 30 minutes. But coming up at 5 o'clock this evening, it's going to be a discussion you do not want to miss.
Oh, and tell us why not, Austin.
Well, we're going to be starting the first in what will be a series here on Straight Talk of our candidates forums, Life After the Campaign. Our guest today to launch this series will be former prospect candidate Crystal Gomez. She'll be our guest at 5 o'clock, and she'll be sharing what lessons she learned during her first outing into politics, as well as what comes next. It's going to be a candid conversation. Those of you in Radioland are not going to want to miss, so we encourage you to tune in. Well, first of all, if you're tuned in now, stay tuned in. Right. But absolutely tune in, put your ears on, make sure that seatbelt is securely fastened as you enjoy another.
And of course, if you're tuned in, don't be selfish, share it with a friend. Mm-hmm. After all, sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
I mean, you wouldn't want to be listening to it all by yourself and, not even connect a friend. Hey, buddy, you might want to tune in.
Check these guys out. Not only are they, provide a little comic relief in the first half hour in their usual banter, but otherwise the conversations are very interesting, and as they say, they make you think.
Yes, informative.
Informative, indeed.
But, it's fair to say that we're going to have these discussions and persons coming off the campaign trail, so it's off-road kind of conversation, isn't it?
It is off-road, but, as I thought about it throughout the course of the week, this is the kind of discussion that has never happened in Cayman. We tend to focus on, during the campaign itself, it's
all of the victors,
all of the candidates, but certainly to your point, after the campaign is over, it's only the victors that get any press time, and nobody seems to pay much attention to those who lose. As they say, nobody cares about second place. Mm-hmm. But I think it's an important discussion, particularly given the fact that every election cycle, we seem to have more and more candidates vying for office. but nobody's really sat down and said to a candidate, listen, this is what's at risk. This is, what you put yourself
Well, we
out
did
to.
start to talk about it in February.
We did start to talk about it in February, but by that time,
It was too late. They already signed up.
yeah, folks already signed up. They already made the commitment. They were prepared to spend their $1,000. So they were going to say, nah, it can't be that bad. Well, I wonder what you think today. But really, nobody talks about what happens to candidates who aren't successful at the polls. And, can they all just automatically meld right back into life as they did before? Or are there a few
Special challenges, yeah.
That they encounter, and, how severe are those challenges? Well, that is our goal today, to always keep it interesting, always find topics that we believe will not only interest you, but overall our goal is to teach you something that you may not have known yesterday. So you keep coming back for more.
That's right.
We believe this upcoming series, which starts tonight with Ms. Crystal Gomez, will be one of those topics that you're going to be glad you sticked around for and participated in. So that conversation kicks off at 5 o'clock. Again, our first guest will be former prospect candidate Crystal Gomez, and we're going to be talking to her about what life has been like after the campaign trail, as well as her first foray, if you will, into the political minefield.
It's going to be a good discussion.
It is certainly going to be a good discussion. At 39 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, though, don't want to get ahead of ourselves. A quick look at what's going on outside with our weather. Again, if you were on 7 Mile Beach today, you probably saw some rain earlier. I don't know if you saw rain anywhere else. If you did, send us a WhatsApp message, 928-2562. Tell us where you were and where you saw it, and we'll talk about it. Taking a look ahead, both tonight and into tomorrow, a weak pressure gradient over the Northwest Caribbean is expected to support isolated showers along with light winds and seas over the next 24 hours. Your forecast for tonight calls for isolated showers, winds out of the east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots. Temperatures are expected to reach a high of about 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Sea state will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Yeah, that's it. I'm just trying to look at the new forecast and make sure I'm giving you the right one. Isolated showers are expected this evening, and that weather outlook is brought to you by the National Weather Service and, of course, its new look. We also have a number of good news items, as you know, for those of you who are regular listeners. We like to start off the first half hour of our show whenever we can by sharing some good or positive news. And I think the first one is going to be great news, particularly for parents of school students who've had to find new and creative ways to keep their young people busy during the summer holidays. But the government has announced the dates in which government schools will go back to school for the new 2025-2026 academic year. So if you're a parent, you're probably going, oh my God, is that time already? Tell me, I want to know. For the rest of us who perhaps have been enjoying our relatively traffic-free streets, well, you can also be advised as to when the stress will begin again. The Department of Education Services has released the commencement date for the 2025-2026 academic year for all government schools, primary and secondary institutions, as well as the Lighthouse School and the Kim and Allen's Further Education Center, or CIFEC. All government schools are now scheduled to reopen for all students on Wednesday, the 27th of August. As it relates to CIFEC, Year 12 students enrolled in CIFEC, including those who have not yet been notified of their dual entry status, are required to report to CIFEC for registration, consultation, and guidance based on the first letter of their surname, and the schedule for that will be released at a later date. Just when you thought it was going to be simple, right, Ellio?
I just had a flashback of COVID, but hey.
I know, didn't you? Yes. Anyone last name from A to H.
Is it my day to shop? Is it my day to shop, Harris?
It's right, exactly.
Were you and I shopping at the same time, Harris, Solomon? I don't think so.
No, I don't think H and S were kind of distant.
Pretty good businesses apart, yeah.
Yeah, we were shopping on if I was shopping on even days, you were shopping on odd days. We do have...
Hold on a second, man. Why did I get thrown the odd?
I don't know. I was guessing.
I mean,
you know?
why didn't you say if you got shop on even days, I get it the odd? Why did you give me the odd?
I don't know.
It was a deliberate thing here.
No, it was the first thought off of my head. Would it make it better? I'm sure you got the even days, Ellio. I'm sure of it. But I think about it now.
My days had a balance to it, right?
Your day had to have a balance to it, without a doubt. It's me who is the unbalanced one. That would make sense.
I couldn't resist that one. Sorry.
I know. It's okay, buddy.
Lord.
Before school opens, though, there are some orientation schedules for those of you who might be sending your kids to primary school. Again, these schedules are available and posted online at thekmancompass.com. But for those of you who are listening, and again, for those of you who have not bought a newspaper since February 10th, because you believe us in sharing with you all of the important bits of news that you need to know about, allowing you to, again, disregard all of the rest of the nonsense that really you need not worry about.
Yeah, let us do that for you.
Let us do it for you, exactly. Let us take the load off for you. So for new student orientation at the primary schools, they all will take place on August 26th, but there are some varying times, which I will go through now. Over in Cayman Bracken, the Creek and Spot Bay primary orientation will take place from 11 a.m. to 2 till 12 p.m. Back here at home, both the East End Primary and the Edna Moyle Primary School, East End obviously speaks for itself, Edna Moyle and North Side, orientation will take place from 9 until 10:30 a.m. Then we have the Marie Martin Primary. They have two times, 8:30 to 11 a.m. for up to Year 5 students, and then 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. for all Year 6 students. Moving on to the Joanna Clark Primary, orientation for that primary school begins from 8:30 to 10:30. The Lighthouse School, you will have a combined time for both primary and secondary students. Orientation will run from 9 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. Prospect Primary, a little closer to home, 9 to 11 a.m. Red Bay Primary, 8:30 to 10 a.m. The Theoline McCoy Primary from 8:30 to 10:30. The Sir John A. Cumber Primary in West Bay from 9 until 10 a.m. And then the West End Primary back again to the Sister Islands from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Why the list does not include West End Primary together with Creek and Spot Bay Primary, I don't know. But I guess that is somebody just keeping us on our toes. Some important news, all primary school students must attend orientation accompanied by either a parent or a guardian. Moving along to the high school schedule for both, for orientation, examination release, as well as school resumption. We got a couple of dates to play with. Starting on the 25th of August at the John Gray High School from 9 to 11 a.m. The exam results for Year 11 students will be released. All Year 11 students will meet in the gymnasium to receive their results as well as initial consultation. Now, can you imagine that? I guess you take a break probably in June or July. You go through the entire summer, but you don't get your exam results until 2 days before you start your new academic year. Is that something that's always happened with the government high school?
Well, it's been a while for me, Austin, but I think it kind of rings true.
Really?
Yeah.
That's shocking. Yeah, no, I'm used to. Again, I went to Triple C, and I'm used to, so you get out of school maybe June, July, but around about the middle to end of July, then you get your report card, and then you really know whether you're going to have a fun-filled summer vacation or if you messed up a bit, your parents are going to abuse you.
You were probably dealing with all your markings here on the island.
Yeah.
You get into the government school, it's got to get the British, you got to get the Welsh involved. Then you might have a French guy that wants to have a peek at it as well.
Quite right.
It's
a lot of activity, a lot going on.
A lot going on.
Staying with John Gray High School on the 26th of August from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Orientation will take place for all Year 7 students, as well as all students who are coming into the school for the first time. New students, that's, of course, all students who are newly registered at John Gray High School. Again, students are expected to meet in the gymnasium, and parents are invited to attend the welcome assembly. And finally, on 27th of August, staying with the John Gray High School from 8 a.m. until 2:50 p.m., That'll be the resumption of regular classes for all students. And again, all students who are registered must attend in full school uniform and bring laptops. Now, ain't that a new thing? Once upon a time, we used to show up to school with books. You remember when we used to have to wrap those books, with the brown paper bag to preserve it for the next class? Because, the book in each year was passed on.
You got to take care of it.
Hand-me-down. You got to take care of it. That's right. And, you were fined one way or the other if you damaged them in any way, but
that's why I keep telling people, all these eco-environmentalists and whatever. It's like we were recycling before they had that word recycling.
We certainly were. We
had to take care of your shoes, squeak, because your brother needed them.
That's right. Keep them clean. How to wash them yourself. Learn that, dishwasher soap and water goes a long way and does more than just dishes.
Yeah.
For Clifton Hunter High School on August 25th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., they have, again, they'll be releasing their exam results to all Year 11 students, and students are encouraged to meet in the gymnasium. On August 26th, they'll have orientation for all new students at the school. All new students who are newly registered are encouraged to attend that day. And then August 27th, regular school resumes from 7:50 a.m. to 2:50 p.m., and all students, again, must be in attendance with full uniform and bring their laptops. Not leaving out the Cayman Brac with the Lehman E. Scott High School on August 19th, just to be different. They will have new student and transfer student orientation between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. This is all students who are newly registered, but excludes Year 7 students who may be coming over from West End and Spot Bay primary schools. On August 26th, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., we have orientation for dual entry as well as vocational study students. Senior leaders and representatives from UCCI will be in attendance and will be meeting with students approved for the dual entry program and those repeating subjects for course selection and registration. On August 27th at 8 a.m., regular classes resume. Students in Year 7 and 11 and Year 12 vocational studies must attend school in full uniform and bring their laptops. And then again on the 1st of September at 8 a.m., this will mark the resumption of classes for the UCCI dual entry students. And again, all students enrolled in this program will report to classes at the Lehman Scott High School campus. So that is the schedule listed for all government schools, primary schools, and high schools in the Cayman Islands, and that includes the sister islands of Cayman Brac. For more information, you can check out the Department of Education Services website. And just for the avoidance of doubt, you can find that at schools.edu.ky is that address. So there you have it. Everything you wanted to know about school resumption, which here in Grand Cayman, again, traffic begins on the 27th of August with a number of different activities and events as I've just outlined. 4:51 in studios, switching away from school reopening to sports. Some big news in sports. Local football club, Academy Sports Club, has appointed Caymanian footballer Zachary Scott, who is just 27 years old, and has named them their new coach with their team. Scott is a long-standing member of the local community youth football club, having been with Academy since its very beginning. His progression from player to national team representative and now coach marks a significant achievement for Academy as he becomes the first homegrown coach developed from within the club, according to a press release issued. Scott brings a wealth of experience to his new role, having played at the high level in the United Kingdom and recently completed a bachelor's degree in sports management. He holds the Football Association Level 1 coaching certificate and plans to pursue further qualifications. Just want to send a great big shout out to Zachary Scott, 27 years old, as he begins his career as the new coach of Academy Sports Club. Big congratulations to Zachary Scott. Again, another young man who seemed to know exactly what he wanted to do with his life, and he's been applying his trade ever since. Likewise, congratulations to Academy Sports Club for continuing to lead the way and again prove that, we can take homegrown talent all the way to the top. And speaking of football, we were watching and listening to the Women's Euro Cup semifinal that was taking place just a few moments ago. And unfortunately, I had to be pulled away just to start the show. But the semifinal game featured Spain versus Germany. It was a scoreless game after 90 minutes of play. But then it was Spain who drew first blood, scoring with just about over a minute left
First blood.
in extra time, making it 1-0. And what has certainly been a nail-biter of a semifinal game. Spain seems set to take the semifinal and move on to the final. But again, I don't know how that game ended. So if anybody in Radio Land certainly watched the game or know how the game ended, and did Germany manage to, sneak one in behind the net to tie it up and maybe send the game into penalties? I don't know. But if you know, share the details with us. Or if throughout the course of the show I find out those details, then maybe I'll share it with you before we wrap up for the evening.
Well, talking about things to do, I am seeing something here. The FC International is having a camp here in terms of football as well, developing the skills. And this is for boys, do tell. This is for boys and girls between ages 4 and 16. 1 week in August between the 11th to the 15th. 11 to 15, 2025, 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And again, it's going to be taking place at Marie Martin Primary School. T-shirts provided on the last day of the camp. Lunch provided daily. This sounds like a real deal, Austin.
Yeah, it does.
You and I can go in there. As long as we can pretend that we're still, 16 or younger.
Sure.
But if you're interested in this, and again,
I walk on my knees.
Yeah. Well, you got some big 16-year-olds now. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, true, true, very true.
But if you're interested in this FC International, the number to call is 323-1993. That's 323-1993. Again, one more time, 323-1993. And again, that's between August 11th to the 15th, 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. Boys and girls are welcome between ages 4 to 16. So you got 1 week of fun, apparently. So if you're interested in that, sounds like something your kids could be going to. Make a note of that, August 11th to the 15th, 323-1993.
Well, thank you for that update, Ellio. Certainly do appreciate it. And just going back to the, what did I just do? Okay.
Only God knows what you've done again.
I don't know. There we go. I hit my headphones, and all of a sudden it got louder. So I consulted the all-seeing football, all-knowing football guru in the person of my son, who informed me that Spain did hang on to the win over Germany in the women's semifinals, Euro Cup semifinal. So they will go on to face England in the finals at 11 a.m. on Sunday for the women's Euro Cup finals. So there you go. That was the end result of that game, and I was able to keep my word by informing the public on the overall final outcome. So thank you, son, and thank you, BBC, as well.
So sorry, Mr. Harris.
Yes.
I had to do this to you, but what was it that you said, son said again?
Sunset. Oh, my son. Yeah, no, I remember I said I had to pull away from the game before it ended. I didn't know the ending score. So
I hate when that happens.
So I reached out to the all-knowing football guru, my son, and he was watching the game, and he told me that, Spain hung on for a 1-0 victory over Germany, and they will face off against England in the final round, which will take place on Sunday at 11 a.m. So for all football fans out there,
who had to walk away early
for whatever reason.
This happens, apparently.
It does happen. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does. But thank you to the lovely world of the internet. Or, of course, again, my son's on summer holiday. So when he's not working, I know he's watching football. So I regularly consult with him for all the latest happenings in the game of football internationally. And he's always there. So I would say, son, thank you if you're listening, but I know he's not. So I won't even bother.
But I can see he's one of your favorite fans.
Yeah, clearly.
Your biggest fan.
Yes, indeed. He's not just my son. He's the president of my fan club. Just very quickly, at 57 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, I think we have time for one more. Residents have just 2 days remaining to complete the public survey that was launched by the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service seeking feedback about policing across 3 islands. Those regular listeners to the program may recall us talking about this earlier in July. The survey closes Friday, the 25th of July, after running for 3 weeks. The police have described the survey as a brief online questionnaire that really takes just a few minutes to complete. The RCIPS launched the anonymous survey on the 4th of July as part of its commitment to transparency, accountability, and community-led policing. The initiative seeks to gather feedback from communities across Grand Cayman and Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, asking residents to help them shape the future of policing services in the Cayman Islands. The survey can still be accessed online at getformally.app/B as in boy 8QQPX. No personal information is required to participate, and all responses will remain anonymous. That about covers it for your good news as well as your information that you absolutely need to know. We're going to pause, take a short commercial break, check in with the BBC News. But when we come back, we begin our series on the Candidate Forum with Crystal Gomez.
Bobo.
BBC News.
BBC News.
World news from the BBC. Violent clashes.
Thick black smoke.
A tremendous legal victory.
Crucial elections.
Destructive win.
A search and recovery operation.
A race against time.
An imminent threat.
Flying a drone over a rival team's training session.
Whatever is happening, wherever it's happening, catch up with the latest news bulletins from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
The BBC's From Our Own Correspondent.
In today's Russia, no one is allowed anywhere near the political stage if they pose a serious challenge to Vladimir Putin.
Stories and reflections from our reporters around the world.
There is a major sense of insecurity here.
More people are coming in from Sudan every day.
From Our Own Correspondent from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
How can we understand the world better?
The BBC World Service is a window onto the wider world.
A vantage point from which to survey a new horizon.
News, reports, and analysis from around the world.
Stories we think matter.
Different people from different societies.
We get to the heart of global issues.
News, stories, and global perspectives from the BBC World Service.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority.
At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest-standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
BBC World News, I'm Tom Dewsbury. Hello. The White House has rejected a Wall Street Journal report claiming President Trump had been told his name appeared in files related to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The US newspaper alleged the Justice Department had informed Mr. Trump that he'd been told by an official in May that he'd been identified in the files. Nomia Iqbal reports.
For nearly 2 weeks, the Jeffrey Epstein saga has consumed the White House in a way that the president doesn't want. And now the Wall Street Journal claims that the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi told Mr. Trump in May that his name appeared in Justice Department files about Epstein. The BBC has not been able to independently verify the allegation. The White House has dismissed it as fake news. The president has not been accused of wrongdoing related to Epstein, but for years he stoked conspiracy theories that the convicted sex offender might not have killed himself and was in possession of a list of powerful figures involved in crimes.
The World Health Organization's demanded full access for aid into Gaza, as well as a ceasefire, describing the situation there as man-made mass starvation. The head of the WHO, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, blamed it on the lack of aid reaching the territory.
The large proportion of a population of Gaza is starving. I don't know what you would call it other than mass starvation. And it's man-made. And that's very clear. And this is because of blockade. Imagine 1,026 people have died while trying to feed themselves. If they're not starving, imagine risking their lives. I don't know why we're even splitting hairs here.
His words follow a warning by over 100 aid agencies that civilians in Gaza are wasting away. The latest round of talks between Russia and Ukraine in Istanbul have ended after less than an hour without any major announcements. Both sides say they agreed to work towards the exchange of more military and civilian prisoners. Ukrainian negotiators said there'd been no agreement on a meeting of the leaders of the two countries, but that Kiev was ready for a ceasefire now. The world's top court has cleared the way for countries to sue each other over climate change, including historical emissions of planet-warming gases. The non-binding ruling, which legal experts say could have far-reaching consequences, came in a case led by the Pacific nation of Vanuatu. The island's climate minister, Ralph Regenvanu, told the BBC the ruling had gone further than expected and laid down clear guidelines on the duty of states under international law.
We have members of the court who are from high-emitting states like the US, the Arab states, Europe, and yet the fact that they were all very clear that the climate crisis needs to be addressed with legal accountability in international law was surprising to me. Also, the fact that the advisory opinion spoke about things like sea level rise. So this is stuff we didn't expect.
World News from the BBC. Officials in Turkey say more than 10 forestry and rescue workers have been killed while battling wildfires in the central province of Eskişehir. The Agriculture and Forestry Minister, Ibrahim Yumukla, said 24 people had been trapped. Firefighters and rescue teams battled flames for over 24 hours, but reports say the fires were largely contained. The French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte have filed a libel suit against the presenter of an American podcast who repeatedly claimed that Mrs. Macron was born a man. Candace Owens also alleged the two are blood relatives and that Mr. Macron was installed in power as part of a CIA mind control program. The Macron's lawyer said that if ever there was a clear-cut case of libel, this was it. A doctor from California has pleaded guilty to supplying ketamine to the Friends actor Matthew Perry in the weeks leading up to his death in 2023. Salvador Plasencia will be sentenced in December. Dr. Plasencia admitted selling Matthew Perry the drug for thousands of dollars and that it was not for legitimate medical purposes. Peter Bowes is in Los Angeles.
He has acknowledged supplying this drug, which is normally used in a clinical setting. It is sometimes used to treat people with anxiety or depression, but it was ruled to be the primary cause of Matthew Perry's death, who drowned in his hot tub. He has appeared in court after initially pleading not guilty. That changed about 4 weeks ago when we were told that he'd reached a plea deal with prosecutors in return for some of the charges against him being dropped.
And in football, Spain are through to the final of the Women's Euro 2025 tournament. They beat Germany 1-0 in Zurich. The only goal of the game was scored late in extra time. The Spaniards will now face the defending champions England in the final on Sunday. Spain are the current world champions. BBC World News.
Opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, K-Man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcast live over YouTube and Facebook with the key search words Straight Talk Radio Show. You can also find us on the ACT Cruise Tourism Facebook page, streaming live as well. Normally, I would tell you about this time at 7 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock that the phone lines are open. But for the moment, for at least the first half hour anyway, the phone lines are temporarily suspended as we welcome our guest in studios. And for that distinguished honor, I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, Ellio Solomon.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And again, to all you persons who are tuned in, we greatly appreciate it. We have in the studio none other than the candidate who ran in the constituency of Prospect, Ms. Crystal Gomez. And let me just again tell you that, we're talking about someone who was, as we say, a little bit unsuccessful in this particular run, but few votes more, she could have been your minister today. And again, a few votes less for the other guy, and they would probably be sitting in her chair. So we don't really see any less importance in terms of talking to these candidates. It's very, very important to understand their story, where they're coming from, the challenges that they're facing, and hoping them the best in the next run as well, if that's what they're deciding to do. So again, welcome to the studio, Ms. Crystal. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. And I have to add that it's Gomez Wilson, otherwise my husband will kill me. So I have to add the Wilson on there.
Indeed.
It's funny because when I did, decide to run, I was like, am I going to go as Crystal Wilson or am I going to go as Crystal Gomez? And everybody's like, you have to keep the Gomez.
You have to keep the Gomez. That's what everybody knows that name.
I mean, you already have an uphill battle with, who you were up against and, being a newcomer. So you need to make sure that your name is
recognizable.
Recognized. So, yes. But now that, the election is over and obviously I was not successful.
Pop the Wilson on there.
Got to put the Wilson. Make sure the Wilson stays there.
Especially you're sitting up in here with the studio with these two great guys, right? It's like, hey, where's the Wilson there?
Reminder, I'm married, okay, boys?
So I imagine he approved then of you not using the Wilson.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will say out of everybody that supported me throughout the last, 6 months, he was my number one supporter. So definitely a huge bonus when you're trying to run your first election with two toddlers and little help. It was crucial to have somebody.
Well, that's totally awesome to hear, and that shows you that you're both blessed.
Indeed.
So,
yes.
So we wanted to start, by just really getting the background. Tell us a little bit about where you actually grew up, a little bit about your family, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, I am born and bred Caymanian. Nobody can make rice and beans like me. Out of all of my friends, I'm probably one of the few that can actually make sukunk and the pie just as well.
Wow.
Cassava cake.
Lucky Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Lucky Mr. Wilson.
So, Ellio, the funny thing is, he doesn't eat local food like that.
Oh, Lord. Okay, well, you've always got Austin in here.
It's wasted in a lot of ways right now, unfortunately. But
it will never go wasted. Anytime you feel the desire, the emotion to cook some good home cooking, listen, we'll take it from you.
We'll take it.
Come here. I'm a born and bred Georgetowner. Grew up halfway pond. To Kathy and Kearney Gomez, who I'm sure a lot of the listeners know and respect for all the work that they've done in the community throughout the years. Both now retired, but both now have their hands more full, I should say, with 3 grandchildren that are keeping them limber and busy.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're loving it.
Oh, absolutely. I've never seen Kearney Gomez more soft and gentle with his grandchildren. I mean, me and my brother pick up some licks when we were growing up, but with the grandkids, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
Naturally, growing up with him in the Tower building, which is now non-existent, throughout election season after election season, I've literally watched the formation of Parliament for as long as I can remember, and also volunteering with him to a certain extent as well for the elections. And then Mom being in the HSA, the Health Services Authority, for 20 plus years, almost 30 years. I've been surrounded by, public service my entire life, as well as my late grandmother, Janet Clifford. She was one of the champions for education in the Cayman Islands as well. She was one of the first women to sign, the document that enabled women to have the right to vote. So I feel when I say that it's in my blood, it's in my blood.
And we remember Ms. Janet very well as, very knowledgeable. Yes. And I regret I was trying to get her to actually do, just to digress a little bit, I was trying to get her on an interview. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, she passed away before that happened. But yeah, so clearly having a family like that, I can see where a lot of that motivation comes from. But continue.
But it's very easy when you're younger to kind of just bury your head in the sand and not necessarily pay attention to what's happening in the country. It's almost like you need a jolt of reality to get your eyes open to the realities of what is going to happen for retirement. What is going to happen for my children? What is going to happen, 20 years from now? Is Cayman going to be, the place that I do still be able, can I call it home? Can I afford this house? All of these questions that you don't necessarily, they don't infiltrate your head enough to make you take action until, for my case, I had children. And then
that's what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, I never realized, insurance costs to add my 2 dependents on. Even though, I knew the cost, but it didn't directly affect me necessarily until I had my children. Just going to the grocery store for 2 people, what that would normally cost is now skyrocketed with a family of 4 that are relying on the Pampers and the formula and everything else, which in my opinion is ridiculously overpriced in Cayman, and pet food because they know you're going to pay it, right? You don't have a choice. Obviously, properties, I've got mortgages to think about, all of these things that were once just, I'm comfortable being a quote unquote single person.
Right.
I don't need to worry about necessarily it's like the blinders came off. And I said, you know what? There is not one representative in Parliament that is in my shoes right now. Somebody that is younger. I'm not saying I'm young. I've got the gray hairs to prove it. But somebody that's younger and somebody that is living it in the moment. I have toddlers, not grown children that are already successful, careers established and whatnot. I am somebody that is in the trenches. And we have not had that type of representation in I don't know how long. Actually, have we? Come to think of it,
I don't know, but I like where you're going in terms of actually still active in the struggle. But I'm glad you actually bring up the whole issue about the kids, because I remember having a discussion just during the election period as we campaigned for other things. Austin, Michelle mentioned that one of the things that I was saying to someone else, not to my colleague, was the fact that it seems I think that when you look at the numbers, persons really only start voting normally when they're at that age, 25 or so, when they probably really end up with kids. And the world takes on a completely different level of gravity. Yep. So you're saying that you had these young persons, and that's when you really started to focus on the world around you?
That, and, I'm a very passionate person. Once I find something that makes me feel alive again, it's my calling. And I couldn't, I was a little bit lost after I had my kids. You're naturally your mom. Everything is mom.
Right.
And you tend to forget your purpose, your personal purpose. So naturally, when I was approached about running, or when I should rephrase that, when I decided to approach people about running and trying to, get my feel for it, if it was going to be what I expected.
Well, you see,
and
I got to stop you. I'm going to stop you now, because I want you to tell us, when was that first thought that you had in your mind? Maybe, I don't know, 3 a.m. or dark 30, as my colleague tells me. When was it that because you grew up with the family, you've got the struggles, but there was some moment that just hit you and says, I think I want to run for office.
There was.
Tell us about
it.
That.
It was. I've told the story a million times on the campaign trail, but it was in Hurley's supermarket. I was just collecting my regular supplies, and I'm like, this is not sustainable. The cost of living is just out of control. And I'm fortunate enough to have a 2-income household. Like, I'm not saying that I was necessarily struggling, but it got to the point where I was like, this is not sustainable. I can't imagine how a single mother with more than 2 children is maintaining the balance between finding somebody to watch their kids while they're at work, so that they have a roof over their head, and pay for the very groceries that I'm in this store trying to buy. And I just decided, I'm like, you know what? We're voiceless. There is not a voice in Cayman right now that is making the noise and the ripples that I want to that I can identify with.
Right.
So if there's nobody that I can identify with, why don't I just stand up and do this myself? That's always been my mantra anyway. So that's what I did.
And how long ago would you say that was?
That was probably the middle of last year. Naturally, fully aware, being surrounded by politics my whole life, that was a very, very late time to come in the game, one of the biggest hurdles I faced when I was out canvassing and talking to the lovely constituents of Prospect was, we don't know who you are, which is why I'm very glad the Gomez did stick in my name, because it did help me get my foot in the door with a lot of people. But that was one of my biggest challenges, is just trying to get, allow people to get to know me. And it was also one of the hardest things for me after the loss, because you both know you've invested so much into these people. Your whole life is public service, walking out, talking, getting to know, everybody from the head of the house to their dog, their names, what schools their kids are going to, what their favorite foods are. And then all of a sudden, one night, that's all taken away.
Yeah. But I know my colleague's going to want to ask you questions too, so I don't want to, as you say, hog the mic.
No, by all means, you're doing just fine.
But I do want to say, I want to ask you this, because there are going to be those persons that are listening that are saying, either I'm going to be motivated to run for office, or maybe I'm not. By sharing, just walk us through your experience a little bit in terms of deciding to do it, how you went about chatting with people, knocking doors. Share that with people so that they can make up their minds as well, right?
The very first thing I will say to any young person, or anybody for that fact, that is planning on running in the next election, is that politics is local. That was told to me from the very, very, very first day that I decided to do this. And I didn't understand what it meant at the time necessarily, but it meant that it's that personal touch. It's that, you know, taking the time to walk and talk and get to know people. You can have all the area meetings in the world, but if you are not coming to the people and sitting there and talking with them and listening, it's not even about me saying anything. It's just having them have somebody that they can listen to and relate to. That's the bottom line.
You got to have a good ground game.
You have to come from good stock, and you got to be ready to listen. But I will say this: I've had 2 kids. I have had some challenges in my career. I've had relationship issues. I'm a normal human being,
right.
But running for office to date has been the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life.
Yep.
And when I say that, it is emotionally taxing, which again you can both relate to. It is physically taxing. I mean, when I went on to, I can't remember what show it was, I hadn't slept. And I could not admit it, obviously, but I was up with so much nerves and, you know, fears of what's going to happen if this goes wrong. Or you know, it's just so much things going through your head. You're away from your family. I barely got to see my family the last 3 months prior to election day. It takes a strain. It's a strain on everything. Every possible piece of happiness in your life gets put on hold. But that, to me, proves that you are a good person regardless, because if you can put all of your personal things on hold for the country, you're meant to be in public service. And that's why I'm still sticking with it, you know, to a certain extent. And naturally, I'm trying to end up on my feet somehow right now. Yeah. That's my number one priority, my family. But it's something that's never going to go away, because that's...
Well, we're definitely going to talk about getting on your feet. But the challenge is now is that my colleague and I both know the experience of walking, knocking at the doors, and you can meet quite a, as I say, motley crew of different persons, right? Yeah. I mean, some are there going to be like, you know, all welcoming. Some don't really want to talk to you if they've already made up their mind. Get your ugly face out of my door.
Yep.
And some may be even asking you, if you buy me a car, you can get my vote. Share some of those.
I mean, again, as I said, I grew up around elections. I knew what I was getting into to a certain extent, but living it and hearing the stories is 2 different things, right? I was a little bit heartbroken by my experience with some of the interactions that I had, solely because, you know, I would open with telling the truth. I'm not working right now. I walked away from my job to pursue this 100%. And talking about my family and, you know, where I come from and what I stand for and things that I'm passionate about in terms of legislation, et cetera, et cetera. And then in that same breath, I'd get, oh, can I get $500, $400? And I'm like, I've just told you that I'm not working. Yeah. I am doing this out of the goodness of my heart, because I genuinely believe in teaching people how to fish rather than just giving them the fish. I don't believe in you know, immediate or instant gratification. I believe in teaching that person the skills so that they can provide the gratification long term for themselves. So it was a very, very challenging part for me, was, you know, the what do you call it? I guess the mentality that a lot of different, not just prospect, this is all over Cayman, have of there's new politicians in the works. I'm going to try and get whatever I can.
See how much money I can get from her.
This person. And it's unfortunate because people like myself that, you know, I didn't have thousands of dollars at my disposal. I did a lot of this on my own with this blood, sweat, and tears. And it was just not, you know, it was not appreciated or recognized.
And see, I want you to harp on that, right? Because I want people listening to understand.
Yes.
When a person is sitting there, got a nice job, sometimes it's really nice and cushy, and sometimes it might be perfect, but you've got that job, that steady income, and somehow you're so passionate believing in them and wanting to do something for them that you're going to sit and say, I'm going to take the risk.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this nice job. Don't know how I'm going to feed my family, but I'm going to lay my heart out, if you like, to the public in hope that they'll accept me. And then, unfortunately, in this case, you don't necessarily get that. Share that experience about leaving the job. And
I mean, but I was fully prepared not to win as a first-time candidate. I mean, I thought I stood a good chance. And I put in the work. Anybody around me can you know, verify that I put in the work.
Right.
But, you know, there was always that you know, fear in the back of my head that I wouldn't be successful. For me, I've been in marketing communications for over 20 years. I love it, absolutely love it. But as you both know, it's shifted, it's changed completely. The traditional mediums, the traditional way of doing marketing no longer exists. It's pretty much everybody can market themselves in an array of apps, whatever they want to do. That whole traditional part of marketing had kind of disappeared. And naturally, my background being in marketing and communications, I kind of felt a little bit lost in the role that I was in, and I felt like I wasn't going to leave a lasting legacy when, if something happened to me. So that was kind of, when I decided that, if there's going to be a time to make this move, was it smart? Not necessarily, because I have 2 toddlers that are in preschool, and if you know how much preschool costs right now, anyway.
Yeah.
But it was an easy decision to make to see if I could pursue this, and I always thought I would end up on my feet. To be honest, I've always ended up on my feet. I'm always independent, taking care of myself. And then obviously election day came and went. I woke up the next day and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to now rejoin the world of I need to find a job. I need to rejoin the reality that I was not in for the last 3 months. I was in non-paid public service before I even had the job.
Correct.
And then, the rug got swept out from under me, and I was like, wow, now I need to get serious about this. But what unfortunately I'm finding is happening, and I'm not saying this as a blanket statement across any company that may have seen my job application on their desk, but you've automatically become political property, right? Even though I'm still me, I'm still hardworking, I'm still, educated, and I'm still determined. I still have that work ethic that you just rarely see these days. I am not Crystal Gomez Wilson anymore, the employable person. I am now Crystal Gomez Wilson, the, unsuccessful candidate.
The politician. Indeed. And I want to point on that because a few weeks ago, I shared what I thought was a fantastically well-written, I wanted to call it an editorial, if not an opinion piece, My Life as a PEP. And I had no idea it was you. Yep. Someone shared it with me anonymously, and I just thought it was, excellent writing, but it was also very honest and very real, and I had to share it. You imagine my surprise when I learned later on that you were the author, and then once I did, you were at the top of the list of people we wanted to invite to talk to. But before we talk about the challenges of being a PIP, you're no longer a civilian anymore, but now arguably you're marked as a political activist, politically involved. I want to talk about the campaign experience. We talked about the challenges. We talked about, some of the disappointing surprises you encountered by meeting people. But surely, despite the outcome, there were some proud moments or some
incredible,
wonderful takeaways that you're grateful for having experienced.
Yes.
I wonder if you can share that with our listening audience first.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, some of the new friendships I have in my life are constituents that I met along the campaign trail, and we're still very, very close. I'm going for coffee with one of them tomorrow because we discovered that we're very passionate about the same things. We both have young children. We're both concerned about the same things. Besides getting eaten or attempted, I got 2 dog attacks. Was it 2? Throughout the whole canvassing process,
okay.
Which I'm very thankful for because there's a lot of scary dogs in my area. But
they are.
But aside from that, I think just moments of pure innocent. I can't even describe it. I'm gonna get a little bit emotional because there are a few people, and particularly a few of the elderly constituents that I spent a lot of time with on the campaign trail that I still go and look for on the weekends, or if I'm happening to I'm unemployed right now, so I have the spare time to just walk around and talk to some of the people in my area. But I don't know, some of the most proud moments I think were just people that, this is the story. I encountered hundreds, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of people that said, I am not voting this election.
Right.
I don't see the point. I do not see the point. Every politician is the same. Everybody gives the same spiel. It's this, it's that. I just don't see the point because my vote doesn't matter and it never will. And that was one of the many hurdles that I had to, overcome as I progressed through Prospect. But one of my proudest moments was meeting so many people that did end up voting for me because they saw me as change, as somebody that is not there for a fat paycheck. I mean, I am already successful in my own right. I wanted to do this because it was my patriotic duty to do it. That was my bottom line. It's still my bottom line. And, just having those, face-to-face, as I said, about canvassing, moments where I talked to people in their houses and got to know them and got their trust because I'm just being honest. I'm not putting on a show. I'm literally telling you how I feel. And I feel like that those connections help to sway a lot of people that, maybe this girl is going to be one of the people that is makes politics a little bit
Well,
different, Cayman, you know?
First of all, let me tell you, don't worry about the emotions. We're happy to have that here. But, you know, I know sometimes, and again, Austin and I have been on the trail, so the discouraging words from 100 persons can be removed by the call or the support of that one person that believes they are.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And I will say, you know, out of all the people that did support me, and thank you to everybody that did, I've got some incredible people on my side, and I can't thank them enough. But it is also one of the disappointing parts is you had these people so invested in you, and now I don't have the resources necessarily, or you know the power and you know, to just be pretty blunt, to help with a lot of the plans and actions that I wanted to see come to life in Prospect. So, but I'm still here. I'm still fighting a good fight. I'm just, as I said, I'm trying to find my feet first, because, you know, my family comes first. I have to take care of my own.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then things will get back in action.
Well, we do have to pause and take a short commercial break, but I'm going to ask you a question and looking for a yes or no answer. We can expand on it later.
Mm-hmm.
But given all that you experienced on this, your first outing in the political realm, will there be a next time for Crystal Gomez Wilson?
How about we just keep people guessing on that? I'm a woman of mystery.
Sounds very, very good. It is 29 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock, and we have to pause, take a short commercial break. But we are chatting with former Prospect candidate Crystal Gomez Wilson on what life has been like after the campaign trail, what lessons she has learned, and really what comes next. We're going to pause, take a short commercial break, but the conversation continues right here on your favorite Bobo 103.1 FM.
More Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio coming up. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Bobo 103.1.
Be prepared. Like you, your pets will need essential supplies during and after the storm. Have at least 3 months supply of food, water, and medication, as well as all necessary documents. Keep items in sturdy containers that can be carried easily. Be informed, make a plan, be prepared. For more information, visit caymanprepared.ky.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
When it comes to cooking for my family, I turn to Kirk Market for all our nutritional needs. Whether whipping up a quick stir fry with lean CAB choice beef or preparing a healthy weekend dinner with fresh local snapper, Kirk Market always has exactly what I need. At Kirk Market, I find premium proteins that keep my family healthy, energetic, and always coming back for seconds. Visit Kirk Market today. Bring home the quality and freshness your family deserves. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and experience a world of choice.
It's trivia every Wednesday from 7 o'clock at Sandbar on the Georgetown waterfront. Your chance to win some fantastic prizes in our free-to-enter Trivia Madness. Great offers on beer buckets, margaritas, and a delicious menu served throughout the evening. Grab your pals and get along to Sandbar every Wednesday from 7 o'clock for the most fun you can have with your clothes on. Are we ready?
Yes, Marty!
Then let's do this. Trivia, Sandbar, 7 o'clock, Wednesday. See you there.
Shirts, pants, or linens. When you want them clean, just drop them off at Island Cleaners. Island Cleaners is a full-service dry cleaner, meaning you name it, they clean it. Professional shirt service, fluff and fold laundry, and more. Even drape and area rug cleaning and alterations, from quick hem jobs to resizing dresses. Island Cleaners, your one stop for everything clean. Artco Drive off Shedden Road. Ask about VIP and prepaid discounts.
We all work hard to one day buy the house of our dreams. Why wouldn't you protect it? With Saxon, you now have the option to get a home insurance quote online. Avoid the waiting in lines and the traffic. Simply log on to saxon.ky and click to get a quote to get started. At Saxon, we pride ourselves on providing our customers with excellent customer service and convenience. So what are you waiting for? Visit saxon.ky today from the comfort of your home or office to get your quote and protect the things you love. Saxon. Smart Insurance.
Across Cayman on FM, online, and on your smart speaker. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority, committed to caring for you. The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, man, to more Straight Talk here on your favorite Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcasting live over YouTube and Facebook. We're your host, Ellio Solomon, myself, Austin Harris, as we continue with the first in a series discussion, the Candidates Forum, Life After the Campaign, with our very special guest in studios, former Prospect candidate for the constituency of Prospect. I said that twice. Yeah, okay. Kathy Gomez Wilson.
Crystal Gomez Wilson.
Jeez.
But Mom, appreciate the shout out.
Sorry, Ma. Crystal Gomez Wilson. In my mind, I was thinking Wilson. Make sure you say the Wilson, or you totally forgot the first name. Crystal Gomez Wilson is our guest in studios, and we're really having, outside of my mistakes, we're having a really honest conversation about what she experienced, what made her mad, what made her glad, and, what lessons she learned along the way. Not quite yet ready to tell you whether she's going to do it again or not. We heard...
It's the marketing side of her, I think.
It is the marketing side of her. Leave them guessing what the future has in store. But certainly for right now, the future is how to re-enter civilian life, how to get back, into work mode if you can find work. And, of course, addressing the challenges that you're experiencing in getting back into that work mode now that some will say you've been tarnished by the political brush. The phone lines are open. 745-2626 is the number if you want to jump in. Maybe you want to say a kind word to Miss Crystal. Maybe you want to thank her for coming on the show. Maybe you want to thank her for being honest, or whatever you want. 745-2626 is the number if you want to participate. If talking isn't your thing, you can always reach out to us on our WhatsApp line by dialing 928-2562. And from there, you can either share a traditional WhatsApp text message, or you can send us an audio note, and we will share those thoughts with you live on air. As we were talking about during the last segment, Miss Crystal, now you're trying to obviously get back into professional life. Obviously, you've you put out the resumes and CVs. You've been watching the wanted ads and the job portals and whatnot. How has that exercise been? And I suspect it too, like the political experience, represents also a new experience for you.
Yeah, well, considering I haven't had to pull out my resume in about a decade,
no joke.
Definitely
blow it off.
They had to get the dust blown off of it. But as I said earlier, it's I can't speak for every organization that I've applied to or anything else, but I can say that in the back of your mind, as being a PEP now, a politically exposed person, you can't help but wonder if you're not getting shortlisted because you're seen, as I said, as political property, or worse, a political threat, because they know that you're outspoken. They know that you know what you're talking about. 9 out of 10 times, you might actually even be smarter than the person that's trying to employ you. So you are seen as a threat.
Right.
You're no longer just a civilian, and I hate using that type of terminology because I am still just a regular person. But I've been exposed, and it makes people fearful. If I hire this person, am I going to be able to get away with some of the things that I thought, used to be able to do? It's a whole other ball game.
Has an employer actually been honest with you and said, this, we love you, your resume looks great, but this is what concerns us?
No, not at all.
None.
But what I will say is that, some of the lovely people that were part of my PPM team when I ran did share their experiences of what happened to them after, they weren't successful and how long it took to find employment. And knowing this, I still went ahead with everything I needed to do.
I was going to say, did they tell you this before or after you ran?
You know what, Austin? I still had no idea that it was going to be like
that
this.
bad.
And I'm not saying that I haven't, that I've been throwing resumes at absolutely every opportunity. I still have standards. I still know what I'm good at. I don't want to apply for a job that I know I'm not qualified for. I'm not applying for CEO of the Cayman Islands.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm still sticking to what I know. But I think that's what makes it even more disheartening, though, is, knowing that I am qualified for some of these positions, or all of them, I should say.
Or you wouldn't have applied.
Or I wouldn't have applied, and not hearing anything back in terms of being shortlisted or whatever else. But I did say in the post that I put up that I do intend to ask the question why.
Yes.
Because at this point you're messing with my livelihood. You're messing with, my family.
Sure.
And I'm a very, very polite, lovely individual. And I've said this before on my campaign trail, until you mess with people I love.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to get the claws out soon because, we all live in the same economy right now. We're all very aware of what the cost of living is like right now. Factor in, as I said, 2 young children and school fees and mortgages and just everything in general, life in general, groceries. You can't survive I can't survive much longer. I have to make something happen.
You have to get employment.
I really hope that this bullseye that, is on my back right now is people can see past that and understand that I'm still just a citizen of the Cayman Islands seeking employment.
One of the things that my colleague and I were chatting a little bit about, again, from about February when we started, February the 10th, and that is on the victimization side, is that, you do have companies that they're legitimately fearful. And some of them are concerned to say, oh, well, this person ran, they weren't successful, which clearly means they're not part of the government. And they see themselves, whether it's getting work permits and other or contracts, that this, I don't think that this baggage is going to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And did you ever get that feeling?
I mean, it could very much be the case with a lot of the companies that, that people have applied for. Because it's not just me. There's a lot of people that were not successful that are still trying to seek employment as well. I'm not anything new. This is not a new story. This has been going on for as long as I can remember. But again, to be honest, Ellio, I don't know if anybody will ever answer those questions. But yes, I do get that.
I don't think so either. But I want to say this because I've seen posts on Facebook page, even my page and other places, and I think that some of our people just don't get it. They don't understand how horrible this victimization stuff is, and the rules have changed. The rules have changed because we now have the SPLC, the Standards in Public Life Committee. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they're supposed to be doing is to try to avoiding these sort of things where people are going to be victimized or even the appearance of wrongdoing. And I really just hope it changes, because I want persons to know, as my colleague and I have mentioned, nothing more honorable than a person stepping out, making the sacrifices to come and serve their country. Yep. And where we're not necessarily trying to roll the red carpet, at least allow that person to reintegrate themselves back into society, not to even make a mint, to feed their families.
Exactly.
So are you getting to that point now? Are you feeling a little concerned?
Of course I am, but job or not, everybody's concerned right now. I don't think that some certain aspects of cost of living have been addressed just yet. And I'm not here to cast blame. I'm not here to, point out anything that isn't obvious. We already know, it's about how many months past the election now. There's still a lot of things that need to be done. But I'm just fearful in general, because I'm not here. I need to make this very clear while I hope I have everybody's attention still. I am not here to prevent young people or scare anybody from running. No. I am not here for that at all. It is something that is one of the most incredible experiences, as you both know, that you can ever have.
Yeah.
You wanna be patriotic. You wanna feel Caymanian. You wanna get back in touch with what this island is about, what we need to move towards again. Literally, we need to go back to the old days, because this Cayman is not what I remember. It's not what you guys remember. It is constantly evolving, but we need to hold back onto those values that I grew up with, that we all grew up with. And there's nothing that gets you more in touch with that than running for an election. I was surrounded by some incredible people with the team that
Or you get involved with somebody else's campaign.
I mean, yeah, it's the most patriotic thing you can do, in my opinion. if your heart is in the right place. But yeah,
Tell us where, because I know that you still got that desire for the public service in your heart. And so where are you going from here? I heard rumor has it you had a little plan that you're doing.
Well, I'm still very active in it. It's just naturally I don't have the resources to do what a lot of the things that I want to do. I'm still trying to help people wherever I can. But I'm still actively talking to potential people that are considering running, just so that they are, correct. They're informed of what actually happens. They aren't going to be blindsided like I was with a few things that came my way. Have time to prepare, have time to make decisions, hard decisions, and have time to be successful, because it is not an easy task. I actually spoke with my Uncle Chuck at one point as well, who had been through it before, just to get his opinion. And naturally, Barbara is my aunt. So, they were very
in the blood.
Very honest with me about what to expect and da-da-da. But as I said before, and I'll keep saying this, you don't know what you're in for until you live in it. But no, I've been very busy with trying to speak to a lot of young people that are passionate. I feel I have a very good judge of character when I meet somebody. So it's been interesting listening to people from all walks of life, from all over Cayman, and their reasoning behind wanting to run, because the age is getting lower and lower and lower. I remember having somebody say, "You're too young to be in politics." I'm like, I'll have you know that Sir Alden, who else? Leader Joey Hugh, all of them were elected when they were in their early 30s.
That's right.
And I'm 41 this year, so what makes that different for me, because I'm a woman with 2 young kids. There was a lot of things, a lot of challenges that I was like, wow. But anyway, yeah, so I've been keeping busy with my writing. That is one of my key things that I've been doing lately. Obviously, manning my children, which, wow, that is a full-time job in itself, but all of us mothers out there know that that's not a paid job. And naturally just speaking to a lot of young people and trying to get them involved, whether it's gonna, to groom them to be a candidate one day, or just to be involved behind the scenes with, just to get them involved. That's what I've been trying to keep busy with.
Well, that sounds good, and I want to touch on that a little bit. But before I do that, and not to take the light off of you, but I wanted to give a little bit of comment on some of your family members. First of all, Mr. Kern is someone that I knew from time I started the civil service back in 87 or something, I think it was.
How old are you, Ellio?
I am 56. I just look 35. Thank you. But bottom line of it is, first of all, he was always...
to ask that question, I wonder.
I couldn't resist, Austin, sorry.
I know.
But he was always such despite the fact that he had a very high position, very humble, very down to earth, and I chatted with him, I think, Austin, wasn't it you and I at Kirk Supermarket just like a week or 2 weeks ago?
Less than a month ago.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. So, awesome person. I remember Mr. Charles Clifford. He used to come in the studio. We used to try to hold him down. And I said, man, you can't hold this guy down.
That's what I wanted to say. When she said
very
her
good.
Uncle Chuck, that she's referring to
Charles
former
Clifford.
minister,
Yeah,
Charles Clifford.
But he was
fine.
he has a sharp mind.
Family.
I remember him having a sharp mind and a very good speaker. It's like you couldn't nail that guy down. And I mean that in a positive way. And of course, Barbara, lovely soul, and everybody loved her in Georgetown South. I was surprised that she decided not to run again. But either way, and I say that because you talked about coming from good stock, and I definitely think that is you. And I hear that you're trying now to try to see if you can pass on some of your experiences and stuff to younger persons or even more mature persons who are interested in running. Well, I want you to make sure that, that Austin and I are here to help in any way that we can, right?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Now, you talked about, witnessing the evolution of politics, in particular how things have changed, perhaps when you were younger, when we were, first voters, to now, of course, candidates and actually involved in the race. But speaking of evolution, on the positive side, we have seen more and more women enter the fray of politics, either as a candidate or those successful actually getting entry as a member of parliament. What are your thoughts, or what would be your advice to future women of the Cayman Islands, young or old, wanting to get more and more actively involved in politics, which up until recent election cycles has been largely a boys' club?
Yeah, I am very proud of how far Cayman has come. And, throughout all the years, I can never think of an election where a woman wasn't, successful being elected. And those were the people I grew up, the likes of Miss Edna Moyle, the likes of Miss Lucille Seymour. Those are the people that I grew up, admiring just as much as their male counterparts that were successful as well. But I feel as female candidates, we are put under the microscope a little bit harder. And I hate saying general statements like this because this isn't how everybody feels, but these are some of the things that I picked up on. If you go out in an outfit that isn't approved and people are like, what is she wearing? Da, da, da. Not a male candidate can come out wearing something that you're like, what? Nobody makes any noise about that. It's also, I feel a lot harder when you're younger as well, because people don't necessarily respect that you've had the life skills to know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, as I said, I feel like we really need people that are living these realities to come in, to be a part of Parliament and to help make these decisions that are, in essence, shaping what my retirement is going to look like, what my kids' future is going to look like.
Right.
So, I don't know. The women that I ran with, I ran with some incredible women, powerhouses. We were able to have intelligent debates. We weren't, there's no what do you call it? Cattiness whatsoever. We ran as a great, great, great team. But I feel like we all face the same challenges in terms of being scrutinized, particularly for any decision that we'd ever made in our entire lives. And this goes for male and female, that anything you've ever done in your life is going to be dragged out on show if you declare. That is just part of what public service entails. But as I said, as a woman, I just felt like it was, we were dissected a little bit more. I don't want to dive too deep into that because it's a little bit of a touchy subject. But I will say that, we are seeing a lot of women come up wanting to be involved, whether it be because there's a lot of policy that can affect women's health, whether there's things that women feel they need to have a say in. For me, which is why I ran, because I didn't feel like the representation for people with young kids was there. But I feel like women are definitely taking a step up. I have a very strong feeling and a prediction that I'm going to make that the next 2029, we're going to see a vast amount of women come out across Cayman. I mean, we already had a very impressive show this last election, but I think we're going to see that double. I think it's going to be an incredible amount of women.
I would agree with you. And I hear the, political murmurings of persons wanting to introduce affirmative action legislation these days. We want to legislate for everything. But I believe in this instance, as far as women participation in politics, that's going to happen organically, all by itself.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And male or female, it is a big decision to make. So, whether you see a lot more women come out, whether you see a lot of men come out next election, it's still a very, very big decision to make. So I don't think any of that is necessary. And you're right. It's going to be a natural change that's going to happen. People they're more vocal these days. People have a lot to say. And I'm really, really hoping that, in the next election, we do have people come out that just mean it from the heart. It's just, we need change. We need a lot of things to change. But I have to say this while I have what I hope is still a captive audience. What needs to change first and foremost in Cayman is the hate that is going around right now, because you feel like any step you make, somebody is going to tear you to shreds. That Cayman kindness that we are known for is disappearing, and it's heartbreaking. And it's something that we need to cling on to for dear life, because it goes across every single part of what makes the Cayman Islands. And this hate, this victimization, I can't even, it's incredible how bad things have
they're
gone.
tearing people down rather than building them up.
Constantly. I don't care what party you're with. I don't care if you're blue, red, yellow, orange. I don't care. I will listen attentively and objectively to what anybody has to say. And if you share the same passion as me, which is Cayman, we will have a very educated, controlled conversation. But right now it's, you don't like me, I don't like who you're with, blah, blah. It's just this big ball of hate right now that it has to change. And
I do have a question on that, because one of the things I've said is it would be good to see us reach the level of maturity with politics to know that, hey, someone has ran for office, but there's an opportunity for them to still serve on a board or something. Austin, we have a call?
We do. Let's see if we
Let's
can take
take
the
that,
call first. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Austin and Mr. Ellio. Mario Eubanks here, and good evening to Miss Crystal Gomez Wilson.
Hello.
I got the name right.
You got that Wilson on there, buddy.
Don't call her Kathy like I did.
I said Gomez Wilson. I think I did.
Yeah. No, you said it. You said it. That's why I said you're in good books. The husband's listening.
Okay, cuz. All right. I just, I'm very encouraged by Crystal's enthusiasm, even after the 30th of April. I'm also very proud of her, the young Caymanian lady, young mother, young professional, for stepping out, for really putting her career to the side for the good of the country, for love of country, and sacrificing. And as she said, it's a real sacrifice. When you put yourself out there, you're open to criticism, you're an open book. People expect you to be their financier or the candidate. They want anything that they need, they think that you can do it for them. They don't understand that candidates have spending restrictions and they have ethical considerations under the elections law and everything. And so you're supposed to do all those things, but also be sharp as a cutting edge in terms of policy and your speeches and your canvassing and everything. It's really a lot. Yep. And so a couple of weeks ago, I saw, and I think one of you fine hosts mentioned it a while ago, an expose that Crystal wrote in I think it was in Facebook, social media, or somewhere else, about her experience in terms of bouncing back and getting back into mainstream employment in her career and her profession. And that's the part that really resonated with me, and I did write her a little note on Facebook to encourage her and to thank her for being vulnerable and bringing that forward. But one of the things that I want to say is that I think that she's very correct about the fact that the hatred that's going on in the country because of politics, and also when good people put themselves out there for the right reasons and don't get elected, it seems like they become unemployable. And it's not only the expatriate decision makers and employers and CEOs and HR directors that actually undermine them or disenfranchises them or disenfranchise us. It is really our own Caymanians. And also, in many cases, it's the political the people who won, or those who are in parties,
that's right,
that believe that they have to make sure that person who ran against them will not raise their head above the water, because if they do, they're going to come back and haunt them in the next election. And I think that is very, very small-minded, and is poor in terms of nation building. We have to get over that, because otherwise, all that's going to happen is that it's only going to be the wealthy people or the retirees, whether they're young or old retirees, or those who have people funding them, that are going to be able to step out and take a chance and run for office. So I just want to encourage Ms. Crystal to continue, and I hope and pray that she and all the others who run, and good people who are looking for employment, will get employment, and that we get over this thing in this country where politicians become unemployable, either because they're blacklisted or people think, oh, I don't want to hire him or her because they're going to run next time and they're going to bring us into disrepute. Now, if a candidate intends to run in the next election, do you think they're going to do a bad job as an employee? They're going to do a good job,
right?
Right. So
yes.
So I just want to get these points across and say to her, thanks for coming out, thanks for encouraging people, thanks for being vulnerable, thanks for your stand, and I'm hoping that the next election, 2029, it will be a full group of young, wonderful people, a good mix of people. And Austin, Ellio, yourselves being former MPs, I'm so happy that you're cheering this discussion. I'm a former candidate as well.
I was going to say, you know all about it too.
I do. I know the good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
And as I heard Krista mention a while ago, When I ran, the 3 times that I ran, I said, I have nothing to give but blood, sweat, toil, and tears. I was not going to buy votes. I was going to earn votes.
Exactly.
And that's why I think we need good people to come out. And when people come out who are good, encourage them. And if they don't get elected, ensure that they have a fighting chance for the next time if they want. And Crystal, I wish you all the best in whatever you do. And thanks for coming out. And gentlemen, I'll leave you in Crystal's hands. But thanks for the time.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Mario. We do appreciate it. And with about a minute, 30 seconds remaining, Crystal, opportunity to respond to the callers' very kind remarks in your direction.
Very, very kind. That actually means the world to me because, you know, sometimes you feel like you're not doing enough. Sometimes you feel like you're not you're unnoticed, you know. But calls like that, that's why I do this. This is why I'm in this. It's a feeling that I can't describe. It's rewarding and
like I said, you can get beaten by 100 person. One call like that just makes up for it.
That. So, Mr. Mario, I really, really appreciate those kind words, especially coming from somebody like yourself that I hold in high regard. So I really, really appreciate that. I needed to hear that.
I got 3 texts. If I have the chance to at least read one of these, Austin, I don't know how much time we have there.
One if it's a short one.
They say, awesome guest, beautiful mindset.
Oh,
and I think that's absolutely true as well.
That's good. I have a very, not as short, but another one as well. Good evening. I've never met Miss Crystal, but watched her during the campaign and can tell she's a lovely and strong woman. I would like to encourage her to consider entrepreneurship in the meantime until she has secured full-time employment. It's not for the faint of heart, but certainly an option where she could become successful over time. As a female business owner myself, I always aim to encourage young Caymanian ladies to consider this path. I wish her the very best in all her future endeavors. And that's how we're going to end it right now as we pause and go off to the news brought to you by our news partner, BBC. But more comments coming from the listening audience. The phone lines remain open as we remain with our guest, Crystal Gomez Wilson, here on Straight Talk.
Bobo.
The BBC is the world's most trusted news source.
And Bobo 103.1 is where you'll find the BBC World Service.
BBC News, the world news from the BBC.
And the home of Cayman's most listened to top shows.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth.
And welcome to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon.
Across Cayman,
on FM, online, and on your smart speaker.
This is Bobo 103.1.
Welcome to our newsroom here in central London. We place ourselves here at a little desk right in the thick of things.
OS from the BBC.
We can catch the very latest news from our colleagues, not just in this enormous room, but also from our colleagues around the world.
I'm in the room where they're treating children.
This is a combat zone.
The situation after the typhoon is very complicated.
It was a very tense situation.
OS from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
BBC News. BBC News. World news from the BBC. Violent clashes. Thick black smoke.
A tremendous legal victory.
Crucial elections.
Destructive wind.
A search and recovery operation.
A race against time.
An imminent threat. Flying a drone over a rival team's training session.
Whatever is happening, wherever it's happening, catch up with the latest news bulletins from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority.
At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
BBC World News, I'm Tom Dewsbury. Hello. The White House has rejected a Wall Street Journal report claiming President Trump had been told his name appeared in files related to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The US newspaper alleged the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, informed Mr. Trump in May he'd been identified in the documents. The BBC's not been able to independently verify the claim. Sarah Smith is following developments in Washington.
Just being mentioned in there doesn't mean that there's any kind of wrongdoing necessarily, and it's well known that Donald Trump used to socialise with Jeffrey Epstein years and years ago, but this really will increase the pressure on Donald Trump and increase the suspicion in many quarters about why the administration will not release these documents. The White House has responded, saying that this is just more fake news, but it's just one more sign of the way in which that no matter how hard they try, they just can't seem to change the subject from this ongoing Epstein saga and the pressure that they're under to release more information to their own supporters.
The World Health Organization's demanded full access for aid into Gaza, as well as a ceasefire, describing the situation there as man-made mass starvation. The head of the WHO, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, said a large proportion of Gaza's population was starving because of Israel's blockade of the territory. The latest round of talks between Russia and Ukraine in Istanbul have ended after less than an hour without any major announcements. Both sides say they agreed to work towards the exchange of more military and civilian prisoners. Ukrainian negotiators said there'd been no agreement on a meeting of the leaders of the two countries, but Kiev was ready for a ceasefire now. The head of the Russian delegation, Vladimir Mudinsky, said the two presidents should only meet once a deal had been agreed.
For this meeting to happen, we need to work out the conditions for a deal first and to understand what will actually be discussed at this meeting. This meeting is not for discussing a deal, but for wrapping it up and signing the final agreement. There's no point in the meeting to discuss all of this all over again.
Thousands of protesters have gathered in the Ukrainian capital Kiev for the second day running to denounce a new law signed by President Vladimir Zelensky. Demonstrators say legislation signed on Tuesday undermines anti-corruption agencies. Charlotte Gallagher reports.
Ukrainian veterans were among those who protested against President Zelensky on Wednesday. He's under attack for stripping two anti-corruption agencies of their independence and bringing them under his control. He says Russian collaborators had infiltrated them. Thousands who were worried about the government having too much power took to the streets in Kiev and other cities, holding signs and chanting shame, and parliament is full of parasites. President Zelensky has said he is listening and will draft a new law to ensure the strength of the law enforcement system.
BBC News. The world's top court has cleared the way for countries to sue each other over climate change, including historical emissions of planet-warming gases. The non-binding ruling came in a case led by the Pacific nation of Vanuatu. The island's climate minister told the BBC the ruling had laid down clear guidelines on the duty of states under international law and the consequences if they failed to take climate action. The electric car maker Tesla has reported another steep drop in profits. They fell by 16% in the last quarter compared with the same period last year. It's the second consecutive quarter in which the US firm suffered falling profits. The companies faced stiffer competition as well as a consumer backlash over the political activities of its boss, Elon Musk. A Tunisian appeals court overturned a jail term imposed on a man who refused to watch a television news item about the country's president, Kais Saied. Adel Skayer had been prosecuted under an act that covers crimes against the head of state. His lawyer admitted he'd voiced insults and demanded the TV channel be changed. Mr. Skayer had been deported from Italy after President Saied struck a deal with Rome to deport irregular Tunisian migrants. In football, Spain are through to the final of the Women's Euro 2025 tournament. They beat Germany 1-0 in Zurich. The only goal of the game was scored late in extra time. Ailey Barber reports.
It took 113 minutes to decide this semi-final between the 8-time winners Germany and current world champion Spain. And it was Spain, through their 2-time Ballon d'Or winner, who found the moment of magic. Aitana Bonmatí letting the ball go through her legs before spinning in behind and firing her side into the final. A first ever win for Spain against a German team who battled to the last second and into the first ever European final. It is onwards to Basel for a rerun of the World Cup final. Spain against England on Sunday.
From London, that's the very latest BBC World News.
The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, Kim-Ad, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM with your host, Ellio Solomon, myself, Austin Harris. But the big news is the studio is all ablaze and lit up today with our distinguished guest, former candidate for the constituency of Prospect, Miss Crystal Gomez-Wilson, in studios talking to us, having an honest conversation about life after the campaign trail, and try as we may to, sneak out of her what comes next, particularly as it relates to politics. She's going to keep us and you in the dark on that subject for a little while longer. But the phone lines are open at 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock as we move into our final segment here on the program, giving us about 23 minutes, give or take, before we have to wrap it up. The phone lines remain open at 745-2626. Or if talking isn't your thing, you can always reach out to us via WhatsApp. That number is 928-2562, and do what many people are doing, sending us a traditional WhatsApp text message. Or if you wish, you can share with us a WhatsApp audio note. Ellio, I'll let you begin because I know you're seeing many comments, in particular coming in from social media, both Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, we have some on social media. I'm going to get to those in a while. I just got 3 here, actually about 4. And again, just to remind those persons who are just tuning in, we are chatting with Miss Crystal Gomez-Wilson. Lucky Mr. Wilson. So the first one there was, as I mentioned earlier on, awesome guest, beautiful mindset, completely agree. They were also commenting on some of the issues and some of the things that you said. It's true what she said. Voters did not exercise their right to vote because they are so tired of politicians' empty promises. If this can't be reversed, the country will continue to have rotten politicians to govern the country in the future. The parliament should do something right now to win back the trust and confidence of their constituents. And of course, another one, yes, deal with the hate thing to be able to move on. Agree with this 100%. And of course, another special one here for Crystal. Our family are ever so proud of you, Crystal, and the path you've taken to put yourself forward as a voice for young Caymanians. The mantra for the new administration seems to be jobs for Caymanians. So it's ironic that you're not finding yourself as a victim to this, or you are now finding yourself as a victim to this. Keep your head high, Crystal. God has a plan for your life. Stand proud and strong on the high values and morals instilled in you. Much love. Your Aunt Carol.
I knew that was going to be from Aunt Carol.
Oh, I love that lady.
God bless you. I love you.
Yeah, I love her too. Great person. And there was some disparate ones coming in on the Facebook. I'll see if I can just find them. But I believe you had one to read as well, Mr. Harris.
Yes, I certainly do. I guess I'll read this before I try to connect because we also just got a WhatsApp audio note as well. But let's read the traditional text first. Here we go. Austin, it's deeply troubling when bright, intelligent individuals such as your guest courageously put themselves forward for public office in the Cayman Islands and find themselves blackballed from employment or other opportunities simply because they dared to participate in the democratic process. Running for office, regardless of the outcome, is a public service that demands courage, conviction, and a willingness to be held accountable. When our society penalizes candidates, particularly those who were not successful, by quietly shutting them out of jobs or professional opportunities, we undermine the very foundation of open civic engagement. There is a growing perception that those who challenge entrenched interests or speak out against the status quo are seen as threats rather than contributors. This climate discourages participation and silences voices that represent real communities and concerns. If we truly believe in a fair and inclusive Cayman, we must ensure that political participation is not a professional death sentence. Instead, we should recognize it as a sign of leadership, commitment, and a willingness to serve. The question we must all ask ourselves is this: what kind of country do we become when stepping forward in public service comes with quiet retaliation and social exclusion?
That's an excellent there, and I'd like to just append to that. You know, again, we have heard, and I've mentioned it here on the program, that the new NCFC has this tacit agreement now that they're not going to be putting on boards or getting involved in the government in any way, shape, at all, persons who would have ran against them in a particular constituency. If indeed this is the case, it is just terrible to know. And again, as we did have an author say about they're now having the mantra of jobs for Caymanians only, well, that's very hypocritical. But really think about it. The government is your tax-paying dollars, and you're saying you're not going to put these bright minds to work. Very, very terrible. So there are a lot of disparate comments coming in here on the Facebook. Again, it was just, hi, Crystal. It's, great answers and so on. And let me see. Something here, someone said she needs to add Clifford also. Hi, Crystal. Love you.
Gomez, Wilson, Clifford.
I mean, I got a little bit of Spanish from me, but that's a lot. That's a lot of names.
Yeah, a lot of names for real.
Yeah, plenty of names there. And then, of course, we did get one from Denver. He says, "Sorry to say, you and all that were successful. I think he meant unsuccessful, are doomed unless you had a little job of your own. Good luck with getting another job very soon." Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope that she will find something, and you will. You will survive. Trust me. Austin and I can attest to it.
Well, I don't have a choice.
No, you will. You will.
Yeah. So we want to thank all those persons who are listening and all those persons who sent us in some texts. If you got in the left, we got just about 15 minutes here in the studio for to do so.
Well, if I could encourage our guests to put on our headset just one more time, we have an audio note coming from WhatsApp from a familiar voice who's kind of been on vacation for the last couple of weeks, but I'm glad to hear he's back. Let's hear what he has to say.
Good evening, Austin, Ellio, and Crystal. Miss Crystal, since we are talking about entrepreneurship, I'm here to offer you a possibility of hosting some of my courses which have to do with how to develop legislation, how to interpret statutes, how to understand judicial review, and how to write cabinet papers, how legislation is drafted. All these are short courses of half a day to 1 day each. If you want to partner with me just to host these courses, I can teach them live or online. Ask Mr. Solomon. He'll give you my number, and then we can talk about it. I'm sorry about the shameless plug, but you talked about entrepreneurship. I thought I might be able to see if we can cooperate in that
business
area.
Is business,
I thank you very, very much. Don't get discouraged about losing elections. Most great people who became politicians lost 1 or 2 elections before they finally made it. Thank you very much. You have a nice day.
Outstanding.
God bless.
Well, there you go. We were convinced that opportunities would come your way, and voila, one of our listeners come up and create one of those opportunities. We will absolutely connect you two together.
I got to give him a call myself.
I tell you that. No, that's wonderful. And see, I think this is what the writer to the message that I read hoped we would be. You know, when we embrace those persons who, through patriotic duty and commitment, put themselves out there for support, but also criticism. Politics is humbling.
It is
100% of the time, but it certainly comes from a good place. You're no less of a person. As a matter of fact, you're more of a person because you entered the fray. And, you know, we should applaud that. We should embrace that. We should hold these persons like Crystal and others on our shoulders as being examples of the kind of Cayman we want to be. And I'm just so grateful for that listener for recognizing this and saying, you know what, this may not be your future forever job, but I promise you I'll give you a start because you need a start. And if I can help, I will. And if we can all be our brother's keeper that way, we would be a much better Cayman.
You can't get a pure example of Cayman kindness than what just happened. I'm sorry. Man. So thank you for restoring some faith. Absolutely appreciate that.
There you go, and I will give you the number as promised. Austin, with your permission, I think we're going to kind of wrap it up with Crystal, and that way we don't have to be caught by that clock again.
No, absolutely. We got it's 15 now, 16 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Unless you have any more questions, unless there's a caller or whatever wanting to join, I'm happy to follow your lead and encourage some closing comments.
Because I heard, rumor has it, she's a little hungry and she probably wants to get some of that rice and peas and whatever she's cooked, but we want to let her know that we're looking forward.
When's Ellio?
She don't got that at home. You listened earlier on.
Much time.
Her husband already done ordered out, but it's home waiting on her in takeout.
Spot on.
I just wanted to plug the great cook that she is. That's all I wanted to do, you know.
We'll plug it when she brings us lunch. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So again, Crystal, I want to thank you very much. You know, I was able to reach out to you. You've made yourself so accessible. I want to thank you for coming here in the program and sharing your story. And it won't be the last time. But I'm sure we'll have you back. And good, absolutely. So we want to make sure you can, continue to come here in the program. But I just want to give you an opportunity of any closing comments and remarks that you would like to make to all of your fans who are listening.
I just want to say thank you to you two for, allowing me to come on here. I can't think of two people that can relate more to what I'm talking about than the two of you. So I really appreciate that and everything that you're getting across on the show in the most objective form and manner possible. I think the whole island appreciates it at this point in time in, Cayman society. I do just want to say, I'm very open to have people contact me if they are interested in any shape or form of getting involved with politics, with what's happening in Cayman right now. I will gladly give you guys my number, or I can say it right now, but it's 325-0013. Anybody that is interested, I don't care if you're young, old, whatever. If you want to have a candid, honest conversation with me, please contact me. I am a very easy person to talk to. And if there's anything I can do to encourage you one day, putting your foot in the ring and getting involved, I would be very, very honored to play a role in that. So I also just want to thank everybody that did support me throughout this whole campaign, and particularly my family. They have been rocks for me and still remain my rocks. And as I said, it's still going to be a little bit of a mystery whether or not I continue to pursue this. But all I will say is that when that bug bites you, you keep itching it.
Yes, that's
keep
right.
Itching it.
That's right.
But thank you, gentlemen. As usual, it has been an absolute pleasure.
And as you and I were discussing, all of us, I suppose, I'll say an extra one for Mr. Wilson, who I'm pretty sure has both propellers running now to make sure that got to work a little extra hard to keep things going.
Yes. I don't think that he would allow me not to pursue this any further, to be honest.
Well, he was fantastic the first round. I'm sure he'll be fantastic the rounds to come. I just want to say to you, Crystal, as again, as a former representative prospect and knowing the community in which you live in, knowing the people in which you interacted with, despite the outcome, I want to encourage you, and you know this already, and you're doing it already. You know that the people of Prospect are some of the best people on this island that you'll ever meet. You live in the community. They're your neighbors. I encourage you to continue to maintain those relationships with them, continue talking and walking and working with them. And even if you never, ever enter the political fray again, you will still walk away fulfilled by maintaining that relationship. And I know the people of Prospect have embraced you, and they will keep you, and I encourage you to keep them close to you as well.
Thank you.
All right.
It means a lot. Thank you so much.
Indeed. It's been a real pleasure hosting you, and we thank you very much for your time, wishing you every success in your future endeavors. And I will, now that I have your number, I can WhatsApp you on this number, yeah?
Yep.
I'll share, obviously, one of our listeners wanted to share their contact information with you as well. I'll WhatsApp you as well before the end of the night.
Thank you.
Crystal Gomez Wilson, our first in a series of discussions with candidates, life after the campaign trail. It's been a real blast. Have a great night and get home safely.
Thank you.
Right. You're welcome. 20 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock, giving us again about 10 minutes before we have to wrap it up for the evening. Certainly not a little disappointed that she's leaving us, but, hopefully we'll create, if not another listener, maybe another caller, and from time to time, maybe even another guest commentator as things progress, because something tells me, she said she got bit by that bug. And we both know that bug, is kind of contagious, and he sticks with you, and he will itch until you just do something about it again. So I hope we see Crystal Gomez's name under the big political lights one more time, because I thought she had a fantastic first outing as a first-timer, and I think the future is going to be bright for you. I believe it in my soul. All right.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to
All right, you too. See ya. Take care. That's Crystal Gomez again bidding us farewell for the evening. But we still have about 9 minutes before we have to wrap it up for the day. The phone lines remain open. 745-2626 is the number. If you want to call in, again, like typical Caymanians, better late than never. She's gone. But if you want to call in and still, offer up some comments, undoubtedly she'll be listening in her car on her drive home. Thankfully, there's no traffic, so hopefully it'll be a short drive home. And again, thank you, Mr. Wilson, for sharing your bride and the mother of your children with us. But also on behalf of the people of Prospect, thank you on their behalf for sharing her and doing your part to obviously hold it down in the homestead. And just personally, I do not know what you are doing with your life if you do not like rice and beans. We got to talk. We got to talk.
Wilson, we need to talk. We need to talk.
We need to talk.
Yeah, but we
got love for you.
We definitely want to thank him for the extra pedaling. We know he has the challenges right now, and hopefully Crystal will get a job pretty soon. I did get a text from someone, not calling any names, but saying we're going to make sure she gets a job before the year is out.
Wonderful.
But, I just want to say that, folks, Caymanians, it's a real shame as far as I'm concerned. And not that it's just this government. It's happened many times in the past. But one would hope at some point in time that we could change their dirty, stinking ways. And at the end of the day, sit and say, listen, here is persons who wants to make a contribution. My goodness, I don't have to put them as chairman. They could just be a regular director on a board somewhere and play a small role. It is just very sad, pathetic to say the least, that, again, we're not necessarily seeing that level of maturity coming from this government either. But early days yet, so we'll see. But as I've made sure and mentioned before, we shall be monitoring the government. We've heard what the supposed tacit agreement is. Mm-hmm. They have an opportunity to prove the rumor wrong, or they can sit there and prove that it was in fact correct.
Indeed.
None of us will know. We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens.
I want to mention again, because this was sent on to me, and let me see if I can find it. It's about something to do in the summer. All of us who have the kids, mine are a little bit grown, not something for me to worry about at this point in time. Mm-hmm. But summer camp, FC International, which, by the way, was established in 1993. Again, if you're interested in having your boy or girl play some soccer for a week of fun and learning something and staying healthy, because I want to remind you, sitting at home in front of the game on the TV doesn't necessarily look, not a sport, Mr. Harris. Mm-hmm. A little bit less than the fishing, I think. Sorry, I just had to do that dig. 1 week of football, if you'd like, August 11th all the way up until the 15th. And again, it should be taking part of the location is Marie Martin Primary School in Georgetown. You have to register first day of camp. All participants must be registered. Again, lunch is going to be provided. T-shirts will also be provided on the last day of the camp. Football, keep them healthy, anywhere between the ages of 4 to 16. Please take and write this number down if you're interested in having your children, son or daughter, participate in the football camp. It is 323-1993. 323-1993. Give them a call, see if you can get your kids involved.
Indeed.
All righty, now it's 6:24 here up in the studio. Not a lot of time to chat. Don't know if you have any texts, any calls. The number to call here in the studio is 745-2626. I thought we had a wonderful conversation here with Ms. Crystal Gomez Wilson.
I did.
And we're going to be looking forward to doing the same thing with just about all the other candidates who ran and were, at this point in time, not successful.
Indeed.
And of course, that's if they're willing. We're going to reach out to them and have them in here slowly, maybe 1 week at a time.
Yeah, well, we talked about, by name, but if they're listening, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, our good friend, formerly working in media.
He's on the list.
We're going to be reaching out to you. Jordan Rivers, who, again, spent almost 4 fantastic weeks with us here on the program.
He was 5, right?
It could have been longer.
Yeah.
It could have been longer. It was fantastic. I loved having him in studio. I loved hearing how he thinks.
He was one of the audience favorites, that's
he
for
was
sure.
an audience favorite, and it was interesting to see that, because obviously we know his parents and his father in particular, And whilst there were similarities between father and son, there were also, again, evolution, many differences. He thinks different than his father before him, and as so should he. But he was a wonderful guest, a wonderful candidate, and he's one of those persons also on the list. So Jordan Rivers, we can expect to host on the program. I'm sure he will say yes. Anyone else?
Yeah, we've got the Donnas. You got to get Miss Donna Mae Bush in here.
Of course.
How could we not?
I saw Miss Donna Mae, but I saw her. I didn't speak to her, but I think over the weekend there was some road procession for some of the beauty queens. I don't know if there was a pageant going on or whatnot, but she was right in the thick of things, again, encouraging young women to shine bright like a diamond. So it's nice to see her involved in that. So Donna Mae Bush, if you're listening, got nothing but love for you. Looking forward to hearing from you. And we will be reaching out to you as well to feature you as part of this, our series discussion on the Candidates Forum, Life After the Campaign Trail. 27 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock, giving us, give or take, about a minute and a half, Ellio, before we have to wrap it up. Do you have some final and or closing remarks? I leave it to you.
I got a joke.
Fire away. We like your jokes.
So we've always heard, Mr. Harris, we've always heard that marriage sometimes can feel like a little bit like a prison. Well, I'd just like you to know that the government has now made that official.
They certainly have.
22 years. Oh, yeah. Lord. I got a little raft of those. I got about 5 of those also. But I'll leave the best for last.
Okay.
That was a little dry, but, you know, it's working in the right direction.
It's working in the right direction.
Either way, ladies and gentlemen, again, I just want to thank you all very much for tuning in, and we are wishing all of these persons the best. And it looks like we might actually be trying to aim for this Thursday, serendipitously falling in on a Thursday. So maybe Thursday might be it, and at least trying to get some of these candidates in here and educating, enlightening, and elevating all of ourselves. But I like also the comment that she was making about, again, her little kudos to us and accolades in terms of the show and trying to keep it different, Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Not the sort of standard tear down that we have here in the country. We definitely want to try to elevate ourselves about that.
Absolutely. Well, certainly we want to thank our guest. We want to thank our callers. And, of course, as always, our listeners. But lest we forget our contributors on WhatsApp for being a part of today's discussion. I'm sure Ms. Gomez appreciates it. And certainly our heart goes out to those persons who feel her pain and want to, again, create opportunities. That is K-Mankind. And that's Straight Talk for today on Bobo FM.
The home of the BBC